Welcome back to my YouTube channel where we explore the hidden stories and fascinating history behind old coins. And today we dive deep into the incredible legacy of the Washington Quarter from 1986, a coin that may seem ordinary to the casual eye, but is actually packed with history, artistry, and potential value that can surprise even experienced collectors. As we go through this journey together, we'll uncover how the Washington Quarter came to be, its evolution across decades, and what makes the 1986 edition especially unique and possibly valuable in the world of numismatics. To begin our journey, we have to go back to the early 1930s, a time when the United States was still reeling from the effects of the Great Depression, and in the middle of economic uncertainty in 1932, the United States Mint introduced the Washington Quarter as a way to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States, originally intended as a one-year commemorative coin. The design was so well received by the public and officials alike that it became a permanent part of the nation's circulating coinage, replacing the standing Liberty Quarter that had been in use since 1916. The original sculptor behind the Washington Quarter was John Flanagan, who based his design on the famous bust of Washington created by Jean-Antoine Houdon, a French sculptor who had actually met Washington in person. This design depicted Washington in profile facing left with the word "Liberty" above his head and the phrase "In God We Trust" to his left and the date appearing below. Fast forward through several decades of American history through World War II, the economic booms of the 1950s, the cultural shifts of the 60s and 70s, the Washington Quarter remained a constant in the hands of Americans through vending machines, lunch counters, parking meters, and more, until in the mid-1970s when special bicentennial designs were introduced, briefly celebrating 200 years of American independence. The Washington Quarter resumed its standard design in 1977 and continued into the 1980s. By the time we reached 1986, America was in a very different place under the Reagan administration. Economic growth and technological innovation were shaping a new era, and the coins of this time are subtle reflections of this national character. The 1986 Washington Quarter was minted in Philadelphia and Denver, with a proof version also struck at the San Francisco Mint. The Philadelphia Mint used the P Mint mark, the Denver Mint used the D mark, and the San Francisco proof carried an S on the coin just below Washington's ponytail on the obverse. In terms of composition, the 1986 quarter was made of a copper-nickel-clad combination featuring an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. The total weight of the coin came in at 5.67 grams with a diameter of 24.3 millimeters and a reeded edge, which was a standard feature carried over from earlier silver coinage. The reeded edge originally helped prevent coin clipping, where dishonest individuals shaved small amounts of precious metal off the edges of coins, and this tradition continued even when the coins no longer contained silver. Now let's turn our attention to the value and significance of the 1986 quarter in today's market. While millions of these coins were minted, and the vast majority were used in everyday transactions, there are specific examples that can be extremely valuable to collectors. For example, quarters in uncirculated condition, particularly those that have been professionally graded and encapsulated by organizations such as the Professional Coin Grading Service or Numismatic Guarantee Company, can command higher values. Coins that Roosevelt Dime, 1977. Where today we embark on a comprehensive deep dive into the rich numismatic history of the 1977 Roosevelt Dime, a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but carries decades of historical significance, national symbolism, economic transitions, and evolving minting technologies that shaped not just American currency, but a cultural legacy surrounding coinage in the United States of America from its earliest conception to the mid-1970s and beyond. Our journey begins in the early 20th century, a time when the United States was moving through dramatic economic and social changes. The Great Depression had already left its mark, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt emerged as a figure of hope, leading the country through the turmoil of economic collapse and then into the fires of World War II. Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd president of the United States, left an indelible impact on the nation through the New Deal program's Social Security, the fight against polio, and his unprecedented four-term presidency, making him not only a political titan, but also a beloved symbol of American resilience and determination. It was following his death in 1945 that a national consensus grew around memorializing him in a permanent way. And what better way to honor his legacy than to embed his image into one of the most widely circulated and universally recognized coins in American pockets and wallets? Thus, in 1946, just 1 year after his death, the United States Mint introduced the Roosevelt Dime, replacing the winged Liberty Head dime, commonly known as the Mercury dime, which had been in circulation since 1916. The Roosevelt Dime was not only a tribute to the late president, but also a symbol of the March of Dimes campaign, which Roosevelt had supported in the fight against polio, a disease he himself battled for much of his adult life. The coin was designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the United States Mint at the time, and the obverse bore Roosevelt's left-facing portrait, while the reverse featured a torch flanked by olive and oak branches, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength, respectively. Over the next 3 decades, the Roosevelt Dime remained largely unchanged in design, but underwent significant shifts in its metal composition and minting techniques. Originally minted in 90% silver and 10% copper from 1946 to 1964, the coin experienced a pivotal change with the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from circulating dimes, quarters, and half dollars, and replaced it with a clad composition of copper and nickel due to the rising cost of silver and widespread coin hoarding. This act marked the beginning of the modern clad coin era and set the stage for the production of dimes, like the 1977 Roosevelt Dime. Now, arriving at the year 1977, we find ourselves in a complex economic environment shaped by the aftermath of the Vietnam War, the Watergate scandal, and a stagnating economy marked by inflation and unemployment. Coin production during this era was both a necessity of circulation and a statement of stability and continuity in a nation searching for confidence and national pride. The Roosevelt Dime continued to be minted in vast numbers, with the Philadelphia and Denver mints leading the charge, while the San Francisco Mint focused primarily on proof coins for collectors. The 1977 Roosevelt Dime was struck in both business and proof versions, featuring the standard clad composition of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core, resulting in a total weight of 2.27 grams and a diameter of 17.91 millimeters with a reeded edge and a standard thickness of 1.35 millimeters. Millions of these coins were produced that year, specifically over 375 million at the Philadelphia Mint, marked by the absence of a mint mark over 312 million at the Denver Mint bearing the D Mint mark, and just under 4 million proof coins were struck at the San Francisco Mint with the S Mint mark. These figures demonstrate the magnitude of circulation and the importance of the dime in everyday transactions, and yet beyond their transactional value. These coins offer a glimpse into the metallurgical consistency, the production challenges, and the evolving quality control systems employed by the United States Mint during a time when inflation and coin shortages demanded both efficiency and precision. The 1977 Roosevelt Dime is also a coin of interest for collectors due to the potential for minor die varieties, mint errors, and condition-based rarities. Though no major design changes occurred that year, collectors often seek examples with strong strikes, full torch details on the reverse known as full bands, and pristine surfaces free from contact marks and discoloration. High-grade examples certified by third-party grading services such as PCGS or NGC can command significant premiums, particularly in MS 67 and above condition levels. The full bands designation is especially prized as it indicates a well-struck coin showing complete horizontal lines across the torch. On the reverse, a sign of excellence in die quality and striking pressure, which was not always consistent in high-speed mass production environments of the 1970s. Beyond the surface of each coin lies a deeper story of economic transitions, the gradual disappearance of silver, in coinage, the rise of coin collecting as a mainstream hobby, and the increasingly complex relationship between citizens and their currency. The Roosevelt Dime in 1977 sat at the intersection of heritage and functionality. It represented both a tribute to a president who reshaped the 20th century and a practical tool for commerce in an America shifting from industrial to post-industrial society. It traveled across states, across hands, through pockets and cash registers, vending machines and payphones, making it not just a piece of metal, but a participant in countless stories across the country. As we examine the minting process of the 1977 Roosevelt Dime, we must delve into the machinery, the dies, the blanks, and the striking systems used during the era. At this point, the Mint had adopted automated presses and refined its processes to optimize for volume and speed using high-tonnage presses capable of striking hundreds of coins per minute. The dies themselves were engraved with precision, though they wore down quickly and needed frequent replacement. And it is these wear and tear moments that sometimes result in collectible errors such as die cracks, doubled dies, or off-center strikes, which are now sought after by collectors for their uniqueness and accidental artistry. Numismatic communities have extensively cataloged and analyzed the Roosevelt dimes of the 1970s, including the 1977 issues documenting known varieties, identifying scarce high-grade examples, and tracing mint packaging trends for proof sets issued that year. It is through these passionate communities of collectors, historians, and researchers that the 1977 Roosevelt dime continues to live on, not as a mere relic, but as a point of connection between past and present, between currency and history, between the everyday and the extraordinary. Throughout this video, we will continue exploring examples of high-grade 1977 dimes visual diagnostics for identifying full bands and understanding what makes a specimen stand out in the world of professional grading and numismatic appreciation. We will look at close-up comparisons under magnification, analyze real-time auction data, and explore registry sets that showcase the most elite known examples of the coin. We will also take a virtual walk through the economic events and cultural mood of 1977 to better understand the context in which these coins circulated, what they bought, where they traveled, and how they reflected the silent yet vital role of coins in everyday American life. In closing our introduction, remember that the Roosevelt dime is more than just a small denomination coin. It is a miniature canvas of history, artistry, politics, and economic reality, and the 1977 issue is a snapshot of a moment in American history when the past and future of money collided on the thin, round face of a dime. So stay tuned as we continue our in-depth exploration of this iconic coin, its history, its variants, its legacy, and its place in the hearts of collectors and historians alike, only here on Roosevelt Dime 1977.